This is Steven Nelson with OEFC West. I'm joined today by Mitch Sowerby. He's one of our new coaches down in the Newcastle area. A lot of great experience with MacU, Mid American Christian University. Also previously coached with OEFC South. Um, and today we're going to be interviewing him as part of our face or person behind the coach. Mitch, how are you doing?
I'm good. Appreciate you having me on today and looking forward to it.
Awesome. Well, Mitch, we'll go ahead and jump right into it with the questions, and then I'll have a club update at the end. Um, First of all, some of you may have noticed that Mitch has a little bit of an accent. Mitch, where are you originally from?
Yes, I'm originally from just a small place outside of Newcastle, but not the Newcastle in Oklahoma, the Newcastle down in England. So cross seas in England.
Awesome. Now, are you or skipping ahead here? Are you a Newcastle United fan, or what's
Yeah,
the
it's so I am, yeah, supporting like Newcastle. Obviously we've bounced up and down the leagues a few times, and then also got a support for a lower league club in the National League called Hartlepool United. Not many people would have heard about them, and they once were good in League One, but now they're in National League, fighting to try and get back in the leagues.
Gotcha. Now, help me understand that. I'm familiar with I guess, the Premier League and then the Championship below that. Where
Mhm.
does the National League fit in?
So there's the Premier League, Championship, League One, League Two, and then the National League.
Okay. So basically, like the fifth tier. Is that right?
Yep,
Oh,
exactly.
awesome. So, you grew up from around Newcastle, England. Can you tell me a little bit about life growing up and how you started playing football, or as we call it, soccer?
Yeah, so I think back in England, I think football, soccer is kind of the main sport. Everybody grows up wanting to play football. It's what we all dream of. We all watch it every day. It's just part of our upbringing. So playing from a very young age, probably around 7 or 8. Played for some good youth teams. Had a little spell at Hartlepool United when they were in League One. So kind of in the third division. Didn't work out. And carried on playing. Played for my local side called Willerton. When I was a U16, U17 age, I played on the men's team who were in the Northern League, which is some lower level football. So played there, and then when I was 18, decided that I wanted to carry on playing and get an education, and came across to America. Played at Rogers State University, which was an NAIA school when I first came across for 1 year, and then we transitioned into the NCAA Division Two. So played there for all 4 years. But yeah, growing up, all I ever did was play football. Obviously, tried some other sports, but all I enjoyed was football, and all I wanted to do was play football. So being lucky enough to play it through my whole life, and now fortunate enough to give back and stay in the game through coaching.
Gotcha. That's awesome. So, just out of curiosity, what other sports did you play in England?
Yeah, so tried basketball in England for the school team. That didn't go too good. I think our team lasted a couple of weeks, and the school's like, that's not for us. Tried rugby. Got tackled pretty hard, and thought that's not me. So got out of that quick. Just wasn't feeling that at all. And then obviously played some cricket. Was a wicket keeper for a little bit, but just wasn't a fan of that at the end. And some people were really talented at it, and not me. So bounced around a couple of sports, tried some different sports, but none of them was came close to playing football.
Yeah, that's awesome. You ran through the gamut of sports in the UK right there, except for a little bit of darts and snooker, and of course some would hesitate to call those sports, but
Yeah, well, I did. I have played darts before, and my granddad's a big snooker player, so I've played snooker with him. Obviously, pool. Don't think I've played them at a competitive sport level, but definitely played all of them sports as well.
that's awesome. So, when did you fall in love with the game? I mean, at what point you mentioned playing some different sports, and then eventually getting into soccer and being able to play with the, club level. But when did you fall in love with the game?
I think I fell in love with it from a very young age. I don't think there's one. I don't think I have one particular memory or one particular point where I'm like, this is it. This is all I really want to do. I think it was just the only sport that I enjoyed, and it was the only sport growing up that I felt comfortable playing and enjoyed. So kind of carried on. Then obviously as I got older and I started getting a little bit better, I thought, you know what, this is for me. Supporting local teams, going to games, and just kind of that excitement around it, and how watching kind of the passion that older people had at the time when I was younger for teams. I think that kind of made me realize just how big the sport was, and I was like, wow, I'd love to be on the field, getting that kind of praise and enthusiasm from fans. Not the other way around. Don't like the abuse some fans give out. But I think I've just always enjoyed it growing up, and obviously trying other sports just kept pushing me more and more into loving the game of football.
That's awesome. Now you mentioned Newcastle United, and then I'm sorry, you're gonna have to pronounce the lower league team that you support again one more time.
Hartlepool,
Hartlepool.
yeah.
Okay, awesome. Well, so have you been into any of their Newcastle United or Hartlepool games growing up?
Yeah, so when I was really young, my stepdad is from Hartlepool, so we had a season ticket and we'd go there. And then as I got a bit older and kind of with my friends, we'd start going to some Newcastle games. So being in and around both of them, probably been to more Hartlepool games than Newcastle games, but been to both of them. And whenever Hartlepool weren't playing, we'd try and go to the Newcastle games.
That's awesome. So what's the most memorable game that you've attended?
So it was with Hartlepool. It was the League One playoff final. It was down in the old Wembley against Sheffield Wednesday, and if we'd have won, we'd have gone up into the Championship. I think it would have been a big turning point for Hartlepool's kind of longevity. But unfortunately, they got beat. It was went into extra time, and Sheffield Wednesday won it. But I remember just thousands of people there. It's probably one of the biggest games the club's ever played in. So I remember that one very well.
That's awesome, and you got to watch it in the old Wembley. Now,
Yeah.
have you been to the new Wembley yet?
I have not
Okay,
yet.
all right. For those that don't know, Wembley is kind of the de facto national stadium for England. Did I say that right?
Yeah,
Is that a
good
fair
explanation.
is that a fair statement?
Yeah, good explanation of it.
Yeah. Um, well, so you mentioned actually you led into the next question I was going to ask by mentioning playing at Rogers State. Talk a little bit about how that came about, right? You kind of went through it really quickly, but you were playing in a lower league in England, decided you wanted to continue your education. What attracted you to Rogers State, and what brought you to Oklahoma?
Yeah, so obviously when I was back home, I was playing. Decided it was kind of what I wanted to do, so joined kind of like a not necessarily an agency, but a company that help put your videos out and get you in touch with college coaches and such. So did that, went with them, went to the trial games, information sent out, started communicating with coaches. I was close to signing with Incarnate Word in Texas, which were Division One, and then Rogers State was kind of came in, and I just really liked the facilities, and obviously speaking to the coach on the phone, had a good feeling about it. Liked the campus, liked the school. It just seemed to fit what I liked. I knew nothing about America really, knew nothing about Oklahoma, Texas, no states. So really, it was just kind of like throwing a dart and saying this is where we'll go. But obviously, it turned out very well. Ended up playing there all 4 years, and then jumped straight into being an assistant coach there. So came about a little bit by chance and luck, because I'd never heard of Roger State, but definitely when I heard about it and the coach reached out to me, Coach Larkin, definitely stuck out to me and definitely made me want to go there.
That's awesome. So, what how long did that process take from the time that you mentioned trial games? Were those trial games in the United States, or was trial games in England, or?
Yeah, so they were in England, and all they were there was games where they were against other players that wanted to come out to America, and they videoed you playing in the games and created highlight videos and full game videos to help send out. The whole process probably took around a year, I would say, from the first moment of signing on to the last moment of getting on the airplane to America. But obviously, there's a lot of paperwork, and the company I was with helped me through that process tremendously.
That's awesome. Sounds like obviously a very um, call it exciting time as a player and as a student.
Hmm.
And then getting on an airplane and flying, however many thousands of miles to a different country. Now, had you ever traveled outside of England before that?
Yeah, I traveled outside. I've traveled around bits of Europe, whether it's family holidays, holidays with friends, and things like that. But I don't think I've ever been that far away from home alone, and knowing that I'm not going to be there for 1 week and back home, knowing it was at least until Christmas before I get back home. So it was definitely exciting, but nerve-wracking at the same time.
That's awesome. So what was the highlight of your time at Rogers State?
Well, as cheesy as it sounds, I think the highlights just kind of making the friends you do through the 4 years. A lot of the boys I played with, I still talk to, still follow up on them. But it's a lot of the small memories of just hanging out with people on the road trips, what you do when you're on away games. So when I was at Roger State, we got to practice at the Dallas Cowboys Stadium and do a stadium tour. So things like that were cool. Go to the Royal Gardens in is it called the Royal Gardens in Colorado? Might not be called that.
I'm not sure.
I forgot what it's called, but little things like that are good experiences, things that stay with you forever. But definitely the lifelong friends you make from it that you stay in touch with almost daily.
That's awesome. Um,
Oh, I think the place is called the Gardens of Gods, not the Royal Gardens, Garden of God. I think that's what it's
Garden of the
called.
Gods.
Yeah, in Colorado.
Okay, that's
That's
awesome.
what I think it's called. Yeah, I could be wrong. Don't quote me on that.
No, no worries. We won't hold it against you if you get it wrong. Um, so you played 4 years at Rogers State. Um, how or why did you get involved in coaching? You mentioned, well, I guess you immediately went from playing 4 years to becoming an assistant there.
Yep, yep. So I actually got into coaching probably in my junior year. I started volunteering at a local club called NUFC. Guy called Peter Koskovic got me involved in the coaching. He was big in it in Owasso, kind of everyone knew him. It was just by chance, really, that we got in touch with each other and asked me to come out and help him. So I went out and started helping him, wasn't doing much. And then the next year, my senior year, I was doing a lot more coaching and really involved in it. And I knew at that point kind of that that's what I wanted to do. I really enjoyed it. I almost kind of, I think I enjoyed it more than I did playing at that point. And then as soon as my senior season had finished, our assistant coach at the time got the women's head job at Roger State on the girls' side. So opened up the spot, and the head coach, Coach Larkin, knew I wanted to get into coaching and knew I was doing it and already on my licensing. So he kind of gave me the position, and it's all worked out since then, really.
That's really awesome. So talk me through um, at that point. You're the assistant coach at Rogers State. Um, was there any point where you had any doubts about that was what you're wanting to do, or when did you know that you wanted to pursue coaching more seriously or as a profession?
Yeah, I think, like I said, I think it was maybe in my senior year when I was coaching. I was just kind of still volunteering, but volunteering a lot more regular basis, and I knew from playing to coaching, I was always excited when I was going to the fields to get out and coach and hopefully help impact some lives and make some differences. And I think that was the point where I knew I kind of enjoyed it more than playing, which is strange to say. I don't think many people would say that, but I think that was when it happened. And then obviously they say if you work a job you'll love, then you'll never work a day in your life. And I think that's something that's definitely stuck with me. I think just kind of being involved in coaching and getting to go out on the field. I think it's just the part that makes me feel like I'm still in the sport and makes me enjoy it the most.
That's awesome. So walk me through the rest of your career to date. So you were at Rogers State, the assistant. What happens next?
Yeah, so I was at Roger State. I was there 3.5, 4 years, just as the assistant. Still coaching some club soccer for NUFC. I was youth coach there, and then I managed to get the academy director role at that club, which was very fortunate and very blessed to get that. And then the Mid America job opened up, and obviously knew some people up here. So got advice to just apply for it. Applied for it. Honestly, not thinking I would get it. I just wanted to start applying for some jobs and start getting my name out there and seeing what I could get. Managed to get the Mid America job last summer. So I've only been there since June, July times. Had one season there, and that is where I'm at today. And then obviously still involved in club soccer, and now coming over with you guys with OEFC West, but kind of with the Newcastle branch. So excited about this little new journey as well.
That's awesome. So, you kind of glossed over it and didn't really, toot your own horn, but as I understand it, MacU won a national championship.
Yeah, so we had a good season. We finished 23-1. We since we're a Christian institution, we get the privilege of being in the NAIA and the Christian Association tournament. We somehow didn't get in the NAIA tournament. We were 15-3-1 record and didn't make it in on that large bid. So I'm still a little bit hurt and upset about that, but everything happens for a reason. And then we went to the Christian tournament. We won our regional game against SCU. Went to the Christian tournament in Florida, so spent 9 days in Florida. We played two Division Two sides and some top NAIA programs. Some NAIA programs that were similar to us that didn't get in national tournament they should have. There was one NAIA team in there that were actually in the NAIA national tournament first round and got knocked out and came to Florida. We managed to win that tournament there, and so we're national champions. Played 5 games, won all 5 games, won the final 5-0.
That's awesome. And congratulations to you and your
Thank
team.
you.
So
Yeah.
awesome job in just your first year. How do you top that?
Yeah, so it's definitely going to be hard, but our goals is set on the NAIA national tournament. We've recruited a team in. We believe strong enough and good enough to make it happen. We got a lot of depth in the squad. So now we're just kind of praying that the NAIA season will go ahead as scheduled and as planned normally, so we can show everyone what we can do. But we broke a lot of records last year, and so it's definitely going to be a challenge for us. But you know what? It's always good to beat records and keep pushing yourself and setting new goals.
That's awesome. That's good. So what advice would you have for young players? Um,
In terms of trying to play in college, or how young are we talking?
well, so let's just say to to play off the experience that you have, um, you know, young players, maybe sophomores, juniors, seniors, as they're getting ready and they think they want to continue to play, either professionally or make the step into the college ranks. What advice would you have based on your experience doing that very thing and then transitioning
Yeah,
to
yeah.
as being a college coach?
Yeah, I think the best advice I could give is, first of all, for them boys that are trying to make that step up and go, just to be the best person they can be, have the best and the highest character they can at all times. To stay humble and to work as hard as they can. I mean, some of the internationals that come in, the all they do is they breathe soccer. Every single second they're practicing. If we're not in practice, they're in the gym. If they're not in the gym, they're back on the field getting extra touches. If they're not doing that, they're watching the game. So it's what they live and die for is soccer and football. So for them players locally around here that want to do it, they need to stay humble and just work as hard as they can. And you know what? There's going to be times when you get knocked down, you get rejected, but you can't let that break you. You just got to pick yourself up and go again. Some of the best players in the world in all sports have been told at some point they're not good enough, and to just keep going on. I would also recommend them to watch the Last Dance documentary because it's quite a good one.
Oh, that's the Michael Jordan one.
Yeah,
I've heard about it, and actually, when you were saying what you said, my immediate thought, I think probably everyone's seen the post on social media, talking through the some of the guys from that Chicago Bulls team, like Michael
yeah,
Jordan, not making varsity in high school, and then I think it was Pippen, um, not even. I don't know. There were two, three players that basically they weren't the definition of success
Yeah,
as youth players. Um,
yeah. And I mean, that's going to happen whether it's in sports, whether it's in life. There's going to be times that are hard, times that you get knocked down, but you just got to keep working. And if that's what you want, and if that's what your dream is, you just got to push yourself and just want to keep getting better and better.
Absolutely. So, speaking of getting better, and you mentioned it a little bit earlier about being in the Newcastle branch of OEFC West. Kind of where do you see the club going in the next few years?
Just the Newcastle branch in particular, or the club as a whole?
The club as a whole.
Yeah, so obviously I'm excited with the direction the club's going. I think the club's focus and mission is to be all inclusive, so to help everybody at every level and provide a platform for them to play on, which is something that is close to me. Because I think a lot of the times there's some kids that can't afford club soccer and struggle to make it to practice where they're looking after family members. So I definitely see in the future that the club making it more accessible for more players to get into the competitive soccer environment, which is brilliant because obviously that can be a life changer if you can get them in and get them into college. And I just see continued growth through the club. Obviously, with Danny and being a director, doing the things he is, all the content that's being provided from the club. I think the club's definitely player driven and wants the best for the players, which is another thing that's important to me. Putting the players first. So I think that's at the end of the day, that's what it's all about.
Absolutely. So, having said that, anything in particular that you're excited about in Newcastle?
Yeah, so obviously a lot of good things are happening in Newcastle. They've just started up kind of a new rec program and an academy program starting up. So they're trying to provide more for their community and surrounding communities, kind of welcoming anyone in that wants to play. So they've definitely got a lot of good things happening. And then on the competitive side in Newcastle, numbers are growing, which means usually you're doing a good job. It means you've got some good coaches in there. And then also particularly excited for the teams I'll be coaching next year because we got a lot of good kids. We got some seniors that'll be going off to play college. Some younger players that obviously that's what their end goal is. So I'm excited for the groups I'll be working with.
So, just really quickly, you want to walk through those groups that you're on the slate for?
Yeah, so I've got the O2 boys with a few O3s on there. So predominantly seniors in high school, so they're getting ready for their last year. For a lot of them, this last year will be like a lot of fun with their friends because as they go off to college, the people they've seen every day in their lives, they'll see less. So that's an exciting time for them. They probably one of the more memorable seasons, hopefully for them. Then we've got the O4 boys, which is a talented group. Numbers are growing in that drastically. We're getting a lot of players out, a lot of interest, just purely based off the talent and kind of the cohesiveness in the group. And then I just took on the O5 boys as well, which is another talented group with a lot of potential in them. And obviously they're younger. I think they're just coming into high school as well, so they're going through an exciting time in their life.
Yep, that's awesome. So we've got three teams. Anything else? Sorry, three teams. You're also coaching MacU. What keeps you busy outside of soccer?
Yeah, so my wife and we've just had a new baby, 2 months old. So they're both keeping me busy right now, and definitely a baby boy is definitely a life changer and definitely keeps you on your toes at all times.
Absolutely, that's awesome. Well, congratulations on the new baby son, and
Thank you.
that's a big life change, and on top of everything else that's going on, it sounds like you got a lot on your plate. Um,
Yeah, but all positive, all fun things. So definitely makes life easier when you enjoy it all.
that's awesome. Um, well, trying to think. Uh, you mentioned you mentioned tryouts. Um, do want to take some time to talk about tryouts. It's going to be a little bit different this year, both for the Newcastle players that are coming over to West, and for even the players that are returning to West. In that this year we're going to be having tryouts at Taylor Park. Mustang, we still have some issues there at the fields, and so we've made the decision to transition to Taylor. A little bit different. We're also going to be trying to make it as seamless as possible, as easy as possible, but it's important for everyone to register, even those players that aren't, for whatever reason, going to be able to make tryouts. We recognize that it's one of those things that um, there's always something that, whether it's a family obligation or just other concerns, that if you're not able to make tryouts, be sure and register. Um, and I don't know, any words of advice for those trying out?
Yeah, I would say obviously trying out. I think it's a different feel if you're returning to a team and you know the coach and you know the team. It can be daunting for players that maybe don't know the coach, don't know the team, and they're trying to come in. But I would tell them just kind of to be yourself and don't try to impress a coach and do something you're not capable of. Stick to what you're good at. This is obviously for the older players in the competitive branch. Stick to what you're good at, and just be yourself. Don't try to be someone you're not, because that usually doesn't go too well. But good luck. It's an exciting time. For some people, it can be a stressful time. So try to take that stress off. And again, remember, if for whatever reason something doesn't go your way, and it's okay, because you can come back the next day and just do better and prove a different outcome.
Absolutely. So again, just a reminder, the tryouts on June 6th, with the tryout camps being on the 4th and 5th. Hopefully I got that right. 4th, 5th, tryout camps, tryouts June 6th at Taylor Park. Schedule's up on the website. Be sure and register. Part of the process is that we need everyone to register. We're going to have a check-in process, where as you come onto the fields for tryouts, you'll get checked in as you get there. And if you're not registered, it'll take a little bit longer before you can get in on the fields. So be sure and register beforehand. Um, and then I'm trying to think. Any last words to our members or future members?
Just looking forward to another good year, better year. It's exciting to be back after what we've experienced for the kind of the last 2 months. So hopefully everyone's staying healthy and just stay in communication with your coaches. Be sure to register for the camps. Obviously, you don't want that added stress if you get to the field and you're not registered and you start to panic and worry. So get registered as quick as you can. Um, and good luck. And we're looking forward to probably the best year yet.
Awesome. Thanks, Mitch. Thanks, everybody. Again, this was Mitch Sowerby and Stephen Nelson with the OAFC West podcast, and the person behind the coach. Thanks, everyone.
Thanks.